math a little bit easier?
But I don't want to split.
You don't have to. There's enough here for everybody to have their own too. So
Breaking up is so hard to do.
Hey, Sean. I'm kind of curious because is that the possibility? So, like, let's just say that if we thought a grand total, like, hey, you could win $84 million.
yes.
That would be breaking even essentially from that percentage. Okay.
Let me tie off that, Scott. Scott just asked a phenomenal idea. I've actually have a quiz idea for you guys next
really?
week based on this. So here's the deal. Scott just asked a great question. His question was, how are they going, once people figure out this, which you guys just so you know, you guys now know more about gambling than most of America. Not only do you know you're going to lose, which I think about half of Americans know, you know how much you're going to lose based on the game, right? Good. So Scott just asked the question, what if they change the payouts, right? So watch this. Suppose they decide to run, and you're going to see in this quiz and numerical analysis of this, suppose instead of giving you 10-to-1 payouts, they give you 20-to-1 payouts for the 3 5s. So now, when you hit 3 5s, they hand you a 20 instead of a 10. What's that going to do to traffic at the table? What's that going to do to traffic at that game? Is it going to increase it?
Yeah.
Because he's going to tell, her's going to tell, he's going to tell her. Dude, they doubled the big payout on Chuck-a-Luck. Well, guess what's going to happen? There. Your average is now a 44-cent loss versus a 48-cent loss. Yay. It's going to pull you in psychometrically. So what the quiz I have for you guys to play with for next week is, let's split the payouts and get to what's called a break-even point. Get to a break-even point where it is exactly how Powerball works. And the fun thing about Powerball, we didn't do this in 105, the fun thing about Powerball is when the jackpot gets big enough, the average actually goes to 0 before you consider taxes, which makes it negative again. But if the jackpot gets, I think it's above $500 million, which it's done a couple times in recent memory, the average actually shifts to positive. Which means on average, per ticket, the ticket is now worth more than you're paying for it. The small problem is you have to buy so many tickets to have the average actually kick in that you bankrupt yourself in the process. Right? That's the problem. That's the problem. So it's very interesting you bring that. I'll have a quiz based around that for next week for you guys. Cool? All right, you got a quiz in front of you. Speaking of in-class quizzes.
No, you're good.
You're good. Okay. So the idea is I want to find out something about insurance policies. This is one of my favorite applications of this, is understanding insurance. I'll give you a side story. Recently, COCC started going with what's called a health savings account, or a high deductible health plan insurance policy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Employers love this because it saves them money. Have you ever heard of Cadillac health plans? Mm-hmm. Cadillac health plans is the most, it costs the employer the most because it costs the employee the least. So in other words, when you go to the doctor, you might not have a copay. That's because the employer is fronting the entire cost. If you go for a procedure, you may only have a 10% copay for the cost because the employer is paying the other 90%. Certain procedures will be covered 100%. And there's a definite balance game there, right? Because if you get an employee that's residually sick, they're going to cost the employer a lot of money. Pre-existing conditions and so forth and so on. There's something called a high deductible health. A deductible is the part you have to pay besides your premium. You pay your premium monthly. That's like the right to have the policy. But then when you actually go to point of service, you have to then pay sometimes. Now, there's been this shift towards wellness over the past 10, 15 years, where now a lot of employers they will pay 100% for annual checkups and screenings and things like that, which I think is a brilliant idea. Statistically speaking, I think it's a brilliant idea.
Well, they have an option.
Say that again?
Obamacare.
Oh, that's actually become, that's part of Obamacare?
Obamacare.
Oh, it predated Obamacare too. And some employers, COC was doing it years ago.
It was showing that like exercise. So there was one that was like gym memberships.
Mm-hmm.
It would save employers a cost of around $10,000.
Making the assumption that somebody who gets a gym membership uses it, right? That's the assumption that. And now statistically, I think the data is too young to make a call on. But the thing with a high deductible health care plan is it costs you less per month. If you have to use the doctor, it costs you more. But if you don't use the doctor very much, it's better over the long term. As soon as this came out 5 years ago, my family signed up for it. Some of my employees who didn't understand math thought I was insane. They're like, my God, you have a maximum out of pocket of something like $15,000. I'm like, yep. Like, you'll never afford that. I'm like, you're right. Well, aren't you afraid? I'm like, no, You're confusing maximum out-of-pocket with actual out-of-pocket. Am I going to accrue $15,000 of medical debt over the course of the year? And then I saw the glaze. And I'm like, you don't understand. You don't understand risk.
Yeah.
Well, how likely is it that me and my family, who is similarly healthy as me, how likely is that we're going to go to the doctor enough to generate $15,000 of debt in a year? How likely?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully zero, just above zero. Now, every once in a blue moon, one of us has to get like a hernia fixed or something like that. But over the course of 5 years, even that one-time, boom, cost doesn't deflate the fact that COCC puts money in a deductible, and the money I saved month to month in not getting rid of premiums goes into a savings account that then accrues interest and carries forward. And carries forward, which is the huge thing. So when Max needs braces in 10 years or something, I go like, thank God I have some of this money in this savings account, right? So you say that again?
It's pre-tax money.
And it's pre-tax. They make it so appealing to you monetarily, but people are afraid because they're afraid of that high deductible. But they don't realize the deductible is based on probability. How likely is it that you use it? Now what's amazing is I started going, you be careful with that thing. You be careful with that thing. You're also young and you heal fast. As I started going, we're not allowed as at college to champion any particular health plan. Like I can't go, here's Plan H and why you should use it. But I can go talk to my colleagues and explain to them. And it's amazing. Once I sit down and basically explain this to them in less mathematical terms, they're like, oh, that makes sense. But that's the thing, nobody thinks this way, right? We always fear the outlier. We fear the fact. Now, granted, I'm a bike commuter. I fear the outlier too. That kid that almost ended my life on Monday, that's why I chased him down and gave him an earful. I mean, seriously, he's driving a 3/4 ton truck barreling down at me. I would have died. That's an outlier. I've been bike commuting for 20 years. I've almost died a handful of times. I try to mitigate that, right? Of course, I try to mitigate that. And because I've done it for 20 years, I've got tricks like wheel stands and I can bunny hop out of the way and then I can chase his ass down.
How far did you chase him?
Maybe a quarter mile. He was going to Juniper just like I was. He was one of the bend and swim kids. Yeah, I saw him in the truck. I'm like, oh, I forget his name. Oh, it was hilarious. I chased him down, and he sat in the truck. I think he could see me because I had the light shining. He pulls into the parking lot, and I just pull up right next to him and shine the light directly into his window. I sit there for 30 seconds, and then I turned it off, knocked on his window, slowly comes in. He's trying to drink his coffee, not look at me. And I'm like, is that you at the gas station? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, never do that again. And he's just like, oh, okay. I think I made the point by chasing him down and then shining the light in his face for 30 seconds. Hopefully that now he will always see that when he thinks about doing something stupid like that. Hopefully. One can hope. One can hope. But that's the idea. As I went and explained it person to person, like my friend in the pickup truck, but also my employees, they begin to understand the mathematics behind it. Sure, you can't afford $15,000, but number one, how often are you going to have to do that? Not often.
Hopefully.
Secondly, right now, hopefully not.
No. Yeah.
But even though if you can predict it statistically when it will, you will have saved the money to do it when you have to, right?
Right.
That's the idea. So that's what this quiz is about.
Unless you have chronic.
Then you would, Davida, unless you have chronic issues, I don't recommend they take the high deductible plan. You go with the other plan. That makes more sense for them. It's all about which plan do you take based on the likelihood of getting sick. No, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Yes, I'm with you. I'm not saying HSA is for everybody. I'm saying it's for more people than currently enroll in it. That's what I'm saying, my friend. I think we're saying the same thing. You're a man. So, what you're going to do is, you're going to analyze me. Death and dismemberment. So what I did was, I went to the CDC website and drank some math on myself. I put my age in. This is about 2 years old now. The chance of me dying within this year is 0.00269.
Wow, that's pretty high.
Chance of me dying, it was a 39-year-old when I did this, so chance of a 39-year-old dying this year, 0.00269. This one made me, the chance of my becoming disabled and not able to work was 12%. That freaked me out a little bit. That's 1 in 8. Right? 12% is a high probability, isn't it?
Yeah.
That made me a little bit freaked out. A little bit freaked out. So anyway,
Did you have to fill a questionnaire for this?
it was a very quick questionnaire, 3 or 4 questions, and I forget what they were.
What did they qualify for, like, disabled, like, cold, cold or flu?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? 'Cause, like,
I don't remember, Scotty. I don't remember.
Okay.
But just go with it. Lily, go ahead.
Just dismember, I looked it it up before. Dismemberment is like losing one hand and one foot or one eye. It's
Yes.
a weird combination.
Remember, there's like a 7 can you do these 7 things necessary for like normal life? Can you dress yourself? Can you feed yourself? Can you wash
The
yourself?
best payout is losing one hand and one foot. But not
That's the best payout.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, friends.
Without none.
If you lose your hand, you better chop off your foot.
Yes, let's get the best payout. There's truth to this. There's a lot of truth to this. So anyway, friends, based on that, I also checked out an insurance company's rates. I wanted to say, how much would it cost to insure myself against my death or my disability or my inability to work? So in order to pay my heirs out $10,000 if I die within the year, so a $10,000 per year policy, and a $2,000 to me if I become disabled but not die during the year, that would cost me $360. That's how much that would cost me for an annual, so what's that, 30 bucks a month? 30 bucks a month insures me 10,000 bucks to my heirs if I die, and it insures me 2,000 bucks if I become disabled and can't work. They're calling what that means, right? So I want you to calculate, on average, what happens to me per year if I buy this policy. How much will it cost me per year, on average, if I buy this policy? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this is Chuck-a-Luck. This is you at the table playing Chuck-a-Luck. And you're going to play year after year after year. On average, what happens? Go ahead. So everybody do through point number 5 and then stop. We'll regroup and go from there, okay? And I'll be around to help you if you need me. Randall.
3 things.
3 things. Let's hear them. Keep it running?
No.
No.
Shut up.
Shut it off? Oh.